The habit that made me wealthy is the same habit that kept me poor for years. I know that sounds backwards, but it's true. In 1926, I discovered that poverty and wealth aren't opposites. They're the same skill aimed in different directions. I'm Henry Ford, and the habit I'm about to reveal will sound insane. Because everything you've been told about building wealth is backwards. They tell you to stop being poor and start being rich, but that's not how it works. The habits that make you poor are exactly the habits that make you wealthy when you redirect them. The skill of being broke, when flipped, becomes the skill of being rich. And once I understood this, once I stopped fighting my poverty habits and started redirecting them, wealth came fast. Faster than hard work alone ever created. Faster than luck ever delivers. Faster than anything else I'd tried. Most people try to become someone different to build wealth. They try to kill their poor habits and install rich habits. But that's fighting yourself. That's trying to become someone you're not. What I discovered in 1926 changed everything. I didn't need to become someone different. I just needed to redirect the energy I was already using to stay poor. Same energy, same intensity, same habits, different direction. And that redirection created wealth in 18 months. Let me show you exactly how this works and why everything you've been told about building wealth is completely wrong. Poor people aren't lazy. That's the lie rich people tell themselves to feel superior. Poor people work incredibly hard. They have massive energy, intense focus, strong discipline. They use that energy every single day. But here's what nobody understands. They're using all that energy to stay poor. Not on purpose, not consciously. But the direction of their energy keeps them trapped in poverty, even though the amount of energy would build wealth if redirected. Let me give you an example. A broke person works 2 jobs, 60 hours a week, barely sleeps, sacrifices everything, huge energy, massive discipline. Where does that energy go? Toward earning just enough to survive, toward paying bills that keep coming, toward staying in the same broke position month after month. Same effort next month, same result. The energy is enormous, but the direction keeps them broke. Now watch what happens when you redirect that same energy. Same person, same work capacity, same discipline. But instead of working 60 hours for someone else earning survival money, they work 30 hours for someone else, and 30 hours building something they own. Same total energy, same 60 hours, different direction. Within months, the thing they own starts generating money. Within a year, it generates more than the 30 hours they cut from working for someone else. Within 2 years, it generates more than all 60 hours combined. Same energy that was keeping them poor is now making them wealthy. That's the paradox. The energy to stay poor is the exact same energy that builds wealth. Most people don't have an energy problem. They have a direction problem. And that's what I discovered in 1926. I didn't need more energy. I didn't need to work harder. I didn't need to become more disciplined. I just needed to redirect the massive energy I was already spending on staying poor. Point it toward building wealth instead. The moment I understood this, everything changed. Because I stopped fighting myself and started redirecting myself. Here's the specific habit that kept me poor and then made me wealthy. I call it the survival loop. When you're poor, every decision is about survival. Can I afford food today? Can I pay rent this month? Can I keep the lights on? Every thought, every action, every choice runs through the survival filter. That creates a habit. The habit of immediate problem solving. Something breaks, fix it now. Bill comes, pay it now. Need money? Work now. Immediate, reactive, urgent. This habit takes enormous energy, enormous focus, enormous discipline. You're constantly solving immediate problems, constantly reacting to urgent needs, constantly putting out fires. And that habit keeps you poor, because you never have time to build anything. You're too busy surviving to build wealth. Every moment spent solving today's problem is a moment not spent building tomorrow's solution. The survival loop traps you, forever. I lived in that loop for years. Something broke at work, I fixed it immediately. Bill arrived, I worked extra hours to pay it immediately. Needed money? I took whatever work was available immediately. Massive energy, constant action, zero wealth building. I was incredible at solving immediate problems. Fast, efficient, reliable. But that skill, that habit, kept me poor. Because I never redirected that problem-solving energy toward building something that would eliminate the problems permanently. Then in 1926, something happened that forced me to see the pattern. And once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. And once I couldn't unsee it, I had to change it. January 1926. I was working for Edison, making decent money, but still living in the survival loop, still solving immediate problems, still reacting to urgent needs, still putting out fires. Then 3 things broke in 1 week. My landlord raised rent, unexpected, needed more money immediately. My work equipment broke, had to pay for repairs immediately. A project I was counting on got cancelled, lost that income immediately. 3 problems, same week, all urgent, all demanding immediate solution. And I went into my usual mode, worked extra hours to cover the rent increase, borrowed money to fix the equipment, took a terrible project I didn't want to replace the cancelled one, fixed all 3 problems within days, immediate problem solving, maximum energy, the survival loop in full effect. But this time, something was different. After I solved all 3 problems, I sat down exhausted and asked myself a question I'd never asked before. How long am I going to keep doing this? How long am I going to use all my energy solving immediate problems? How long am I going to stay in the survival loop? And the answer terrified me. Forever, unless I change the direction of my energy. That moment changed everything. I realized the survival loop habit wasn't going to end by itself. I could be 70 years old still solving immediate problems, still reacting to urgent needs, still putting out fires, still poor, unless I deliberately redirected the energy. Took the same problem-solving skill, the same immediate action habit, the same intense focus, and pointed it at building something instead of just surviving. That was the breaking point. That was when I decided to flip the poverty habit into a wealth habit. The poverty habit is immediate problem solving. React to what's urgent, fix what's broken, survive today. The wealth habit is identical. Immediate problem solving. React to what's urgent, fix what's broken. But here's the flip. Instead of solving problems that keep you surviving, you solve problems that build wealth. Same habit, same energy, different target. Let me show you exactly what this looks like. Poverty habit. Rent is due. Immediate problem. Work extra hours. Get money. Pay rent. Survive another month. Massive energy spent. Zero wealth built. Wealth habit flip. Rent is due. Immediate problem. But instead of working extra hours for someone else, you immediately solve a problem for a client directly. Get paid directly. Pay rent. And now you have a client relationship that can repeat. Same energy spent. Wealth building started. Poverty habit. Equipment breaks. Immediate problem. Borrow money. Fix equipment. Get back to work. Survive. Massive energy spent. Zero wealth built. Wealth habit flip. Equipment breaks. Immediate problem. But instead of just fixing it, you immediately document how you fixed it. You now have knowledge you can sell to others with the same problem. Same energy spent. Wealth building started. Poverty habit. Income drops. Immediate problem. Take any available work. Get money now. Survive. Massive energy spent. Zero wealth built. Wealth habit flip. Income drops. Immediate problem. But instead of taking any work, you immediately create something valuable and sell it directly. Same urgency. Same immediate action. But now you own what you created. Same energy spent. Wealth building started. See the pattern? Same habit, same immediate problem solving, same intense energy, but the target changed. Instead of solving problems that keep you surviving, you solve problems that build assets. Same you, same work ethic, same discipline, different direction. That's the flip. That's what I did in February 1926. Stopped using my immediate problem-solving habit to survive. Started using it to build. First month after the flip, I had the same urgent problems as always. Needed money for something. My immediate problem-solving habit kicked in automatically. But instead of working extra hours for Edison, I immediately went to a factory owner I knew and offered to solve a specific problem he'd been complaining about. Solved it in 2 days, got paid well, solved my urgent money need. But now I also had a relationship with that factory owner. He called me 3 more times that month with other problems. Each time, immediate payment. By the end of February, I'd made more from direct problem solving than I made from my regular work. Same energy, same immediate action habit, different direction. March, same thing. Urgent needs arose, immediate problem solving habit activated, but directed toward building client relationships instead of just surviving. By the end of March, I had 5 clients who called me regularly. April, the clients started multiplying. They referred others. My immediate problem-solving habit was now creating wealth instead of just preventing poverty. Same habit that kept me poor for years was now making me wealthy, because I flipped the direction. Most wealth advice tells you to change who you are. Stop being reactive. Start being proactive. Stop solving immediate problems. Start building long-term. Stop working hard. Start working smart. All of that sounds good, but it's fighting your nature. If you're someone who solves immediate problems with intense energy, that's who you are. That's your wiring. That's your strength. Trying to stop being that person doesn't work. You can't maintain it. You'll always default back to your nature. But here's what does work. Stay exactly who you are. Keep the immediate problem-solving habit. Keep the intense energy. Keep the reactive nature. Just redirect it. Point it at problems that build wealth instead of problems that maintain poverty. You're not fighting yourself anymore. You're using yourself. Your natural habits, your natural energy, your natural wiring, just aimed in a different direction. This is why the flip works when everything else fails. You're not trying to become someone different. You're redirecting someone who already exists. And redirection is 1,000 times easier than transformation. I tried to transform myself for years before 1926. Tried to become less reactive. Tried to become more strategic. Tried to become patient and long-term focused. Failed every single time. Because that's not who I am. I'm someone who sees a problem and immediately acts to solve it. That's my nature. Fighting that nature was exhausting and ineffective. But redirecting that nature was effortless and powerful. February 1926. I stopped fighting, started redirecting, and wealth came faster than any transformation attempt ever created. Let me show you 3 specific poverty habits you already have, and exactly how to flip each one into a wealth habit. First poverty habit, immediate spending. Money comes in, money goes out immediately. Rent, food, bills, something you need. The money never stays. This habit comes from scarcity. When you never have enough, when money is rare, you spend it immediately on survival needs before it disappears. That's the poverty habit. Massive discipline required to make sure survival needs get paid before money disappears. Here's the flip. Keep the immediate spending habit, but spend on assets instead of survival. Money comes in. Immediately put a portion into something that will make more money. Same immediacy, same discipline, different target. You're not trying to save long-term. You're not trying to be patient. You're using your natural immediate spending habit to buy wealth-building tools instead of just survival. Second poverty habit, immediate action on urgent problems. Something urgent appears. You drop everything. You solve it now. This comes from survival mode. When you're poor, urgent problems destroy you if you don't solve them immediately. So you've built an incredible habit of immediate response to urgency. That habit takes massive energy and incredible focus. Here's the flip. Keep the immediate action habit, but respond to wealth-building urgencies instead of survival urgencies. Someone needs something you can provide. That's urgent. Solve it immediately. Get paid immediately. Opportunity appears. That's urgent. Act on it immediately. Capture it immediately. Same immediate response habit. Same intense energy. Different urgency. Third poverty habit. Maximum effort for minimum survival. You work incredibly hard for just enough to survive. 60-hour weeks for barely enough money. Maximum energy for minimum result. This comes from having no leverage. When you're poor, you trade time for money directly. No tools, no assets, no multiplication, just raw effort for raw survival. Here's the flip. Keep the maximum effort habit, but apply it to building leverage instead of just surviving. Work incredibly hard building something you own. Same 60 hours, same maximum effort, but 30 hours building leverage that multiplies your results. Same work ethic, different application. These three poverty habits, when flipped, become wealth habits. You don't kill them. You don't fight them. You redirect them. I had all three poverty habits. Spent money immediately on survival. Responded immediately to urgent problems. Worked maximum hours for minimum survival. Those habits took enormous energy, enormous discipline, enormous focus. But they kept me poor, because the direction was wrong. February 1926, I flipped all three. Started spending immediately on tools and relationships instead of just survival. Started responding immediately to wealth-building urgencies instead of just survival urgencies. Started working maximum effort on building assets instead of just surviving. Same habits, same energy, different direction. By December 1926, my life was completely different. Not because I became someone different, because I redirected someone who already existed. Let me give you the exact protocol I used to flip my poverty habits in 1926. This is the step-by-step process that redirects your natural, immediate problem-solving energy toward wealth building. Step 1. Identify your next urgent need. What problem is coming that demands immediate solution? Rent payment, equipment repair, income gap, whatever is urgent for you right now. Step 2. Solve it through direct value creation instead of trading time. Instead of working extra hours for someone else, immediately create something valuable and sell it directly. Solve someone's problem, provide a service, create a product, immediate action, direct payment. Step 3. Document what you created. Write down what you did, how you solved the problem, what value you created. This documentation becomes an asset. You can repeat it, sell it again, teach it to others. Step 4. Build the relationship. The person who paid you has other problems. Stay connected, be available. When urgency hits them again, they call you again. Immediate problem solving becomes recurring income. Step 5. Repeat with every urgent need. Every time urgency appears in your life, run this protocol. Solve it through direct value creation. Document it. Build the relationship. Repeat. This protocol redirects your immediate problem-solving habit. Same urgency, same immediate action. But now every urgent need you solve builds an asset, builds a relationship, builds recurring income. After 6 months of this protocol, you'll have dozens of client relationships, dozens of documented solutions, dozens of income streams, all built from the same immediate problem-solving energy you were using to stay poor. That's how you flip the poverty habit. That's how you redirect the energy. That's how you build wealth without becoming someone different. Here's a practice you can start today that trains your brain to redirect poverty habits toward wealth building. Every time you feel urgency about money, about survival, about immediate needs, pause for 10 seconds. Just 10 seconds. In those 10 seconds, ask yourself one question. Can I solve this urgent need by creating value for someone else instead of just trading my time? That's it. One question. 10 seconds. Most of the time, the answer will be no. You'll solve the urgent need the old way. But sometimes, maybe one time out of 10, the answer will be yes. And that one time, you'll redirect your immediate problem-solving habit toward wealth building instead of just surviving. You'll solve someone else's problem to solve your own. You'll create direct value to get direct payment. You'll build a relationship while solving urgency. That one redirection, repeated over months, transforms everything. I started this practice in February 1926. 10-second pause. One question. Can I solve this urgency through value creation? First week, 8 out of 10 urgent needs got solved the old way. 2 out of 10 got redirected. Second week, 7 old way. 3 redirected. By the end of February, 5 out of 10 urgent needs were getting solved through direct value creation. And each of those redirected solutions built something. Built a client, built a relationship, built an asset, built recurring potential. By the end of March, the redirected solutions were generating enough money that my urgent needs were decreasing. Less urgency meant more capacity to build. More building meant more income. More income meant even less urgency. The positive spiral had started. All from a 10-second pause and one question asked consistently. Do this practice for 30 days. Every urgent need that appears, pause 10 seconds. Ask the question. Redirect when possible. By day 30, you'll have redirected at least 10 urgent needs toward value creation. Those 10 redirections will have built 10 relationships, 10 documented solutions, 10 potential recurring income streams. That's 10 more assets than you had 30 days ago. Built from the same poverty habit energy you were already spending. Just redirected. Here's what most people miss about redirecting poverty habits. It compounds. The first redirection creates one asset, one client, one relationship. Small. But that one asset creates opportunity for a second redirection. That client has another problem. Urgency appears again. You redirect again. Now you have 2 assets with the same client. Deeper relationship. More trust. More value created. That deeper relationship leads to referrals. The client tells someone else about you. New urgency appears from the referral. You redirect again. Now you have 3 assets, 2 clients. Each redirection makes the next redirection easier. Each asset makes the next asset easier to build. Each relationship makes the next relationship easier to start. This is compound. Not just money compounding, assets compounding, relationships compounding, redirections compounding. I saw this compound effect clearly by month 6 of the protocol. April 1926, I had 12 active client relationships built from redirected urgencies. May, those 12 clients created 23 urgencies I could redirect. Each one solved through direct value creation. Each one building deeper relationships or new relationships. June, those relationships created 38 urgencies. The compound was accelerating. By December, I was redirecting 60 to 70 urgencies per month. Each one building assets. Each one deepening relationships. Each one generating immediate income and future potential. The poverty habit that used to keep me surviving was now building wealth faster than I could have working for someone else. Because it compounded. Because each redirection created the next opportunity to redirect. That's the power of the flip. You're not just redirecting energy once. You're starting a compound process that accelerates over time. Here's something that will sound crazy. Broke people already have the skills to be wealthy. They just don't know it. Think about what broke people are incredible at. Solving immediate problems with limited resources. That's wealth building. Making something out of nothing. That's entrepreneurship. Working intensely when urgency demands it. That's execution ability. Focusing completely on survival. That's prioritization. Broke people have all the skills, all the energy, all the discipline. They're just aimed at surviving instead of building. The moment you realize this, the moment you see that poverty and wealth use the same skills in different directions, everything changes. You stop thinking you need to become someone different. You stop thinking you lack what it takes. You stop thinking wealth is for other people who have something you don't have. You realize you already have it. You're already doing it. You just need to redirect it. This realization hit me hard in March 1926. I was solving a problem for a client, moving fast, using whatever I had available, intense focus, complete commitment to solving it immediately. And I realized I've been doing this my entire life. The only difference is now I'm getting paid directly for it instead of just using it to survive. The skills were always there. The energy was always there. The discipline was always there. I just redirected them. And that redirection changed everything. If you're broke right now, you're not lacking skills. You're not lacking energy. You're not lacking discipline. You're lacking direction. And direction is easy to change. Easier than building new skills. Easier than finding new energy. Easier than developing new discipline. Just redirect what you already have. Point your poverty habits at wealth-building targets and watch what happens. Here's the second practice that reinforces the redirect habit and accelerates wealth building. Every evening, write down 3 things. Thing 1. What urgent need appeared today? Be specific. Needed $50 for something. Equipment broke. Client problem arose. Whatever created urgency. Thing 2. How did I solve it? Old way through time trading or new way through value creation? Be honest. If you solved it the old way, write that. If you redirected, write that. Thing 3. If I redirected, what asset did I build? What relationship deepened? What documentation did I create? What recurring potential emerged? Write the specific asset created by the redirection. This nightly practice does 2 things. First, it makes you conscious of your pattern. You start seeing how often you default to old survival habits versus how often you redirect to wealth-building habits. That awareness creates motivation to redirect more. Second, it shows you the assets accumulating. Every redirected urgency creates an asset. After 30 days of logging, you'll see 30 assets built from redirected poverty habits. That evidence proves the method works, proves you're building wealth, proves redirection is real and powerful. I started this logging practice in March 1926 alongside the 10-second urgency pause. Every night, 3 things written down. Urgency that appeared, how I solved it, asset created if I redirected. By the end of March, I had 47 documented assets. 47 times I'd redirected poverty habits toward wealth building. 47 client relationships, documented solutions, recurring potentials. That evidence was undeniable. The flip was working. The redirection was building wealth. And seeing that evidence every night motivated me to redirect even more urgencies, to flip even more poverty habits, to build even more assets. Do both practices together. 10-second pause with the urgency question during the day. 3-thing log every evening. 30 days of both practices, and you'll have redirected your poverty habits toward wealth building dozens of times. You'll have dozens of assets, dozens of relationships, dozens of proofs that this method works. And those dozens of redirected urgencies will compound into hundreds over the next months, hundreds into thousands over the next year. All built from the same energy you were using to stay poor, just redirected. Once you've redirected poverty habits for 90 days, something interesting happens. The assets you've built start creating leverage. Leverage means your energy gets multiplied. 1 hour of work creates 5 hours of results. Here's how this happens with redirected poverty habits. Month 1. You redirect 10 urgencies, solve 10 problems directly, build 10 client relationships. Each relationship pays you once, 10 payments. Month 2. Those 10 clients have repeat problems. You solve them again, 10 more payments. But you've also documented the solutions. Now when similar problems appear, you solve them faster using documented methods. Same energy, more results. Leverage starting. Month 3. The documented methods become products. Instead of solving the same problem 10 times manually, you package the solution. Sell it as a method, as a process, as a tool. Now one solution serves 50 people. Massive leverage. Month 6. The client relationships refer others. Your immediate problem-solving habit is now serving referrals, but you're using documented methods and packaged products. Less time per solution, more solutions per day, exponential leverage. This is how redirected poverty habits create wealth fast, not just through immediate income, through building leverage that multiplies everything. The immediate problem-solving habit builds the first income. The documentation habit builds the leverage. The relationship habit builds the multiplication. All three poverty habits redirected create compounding leveraged wealth. I hit leverage multiplication in June 1926, 4 months after starting the redirect protocol. The problems I was solving in June were the same types of problems I'd solved in February. But in February, each problem took 2 days to solve. By June, I'd documented the methods. Each problem took 4 hours. Same payment, less time. That's 4 times leverage. In February, I could solve 2 problems per week. In June, I was solving 10 problems per week. Same work hours, 5 times the output. That's leverage. In February, each client paid once. In June, clients were buying documented methods repeatedly. Same client, multiple payments. That's multiplication. The redirected poverty habits had built a system that leveraged my time, a system that multiplied my energy, a system that created wealth automatically. And that system came from the same immediate problem-solving habit that kept me poor for years, just redirected toward building instead of surviving. Around month 6 of redirecting poverty habits, something shifts inside you. You stop seeing yourself as poor. You stop seeing yourself as someone trying to survive. You start seeing yourself as someone who builds wealth. That identity shift changes everything, because identity drives automatic behavior. When you saw yourself as poor, your automatic behavior was survival-focused. Solve urgent problems to survive. Trade time for survival money. Stay in the poverty loop. That was automatic. When you see yourself as wealth builder, your automatic behavior changes. Solve urgent problems to build assets. Trade value for wealth building money. Stay in the wealth building loop. That becomes automatic. The shift happens naturally after months of redirecting. You've redirected 50 urgencies, 70 urgencies, 100 urgencies. You've built 50 assets, 70 assets, 100 assets. Your brain has evidence that you're a wealth builder, so it updates your identity. And once the identity updates, the behaviors become effortless. My identity shifted in July 1926, 5 months after starting the redirect protocol. I was having a conversation with someone about work. They asked what I did. Old me would have said I work for Edison. But that day, I said I solve problems for factory owners. Different answer, different identity. I wasn't an employee trying to survive. I was a problem solver building wealth. That shift was permanent. Once I saw myself as wealth builder, I couldn't go back to seeing myself as survival-focused employee. The identity had changed. The automatic behaviors had changed. The results continued to change. The identity shift is the proof that the redirect is permanent. You're not forcing yourself to behave differently anymore. You've become someone who naturally behaves differently. That's the power of redirecting poverty habits instead of fighting them. You use your natural energy so consistently in a new direction that your brain updates who you think you are. And once identity updates, transformation is complete and permanent. Let me show you the exact timeline of what happens when you redirect poverty habits consistently for 18 months. Month 1 through 3, learning the redirect, practicing the 10-second pause, asking the urgency question, redirecting 10 to 30 urgencies toward value creation, building 10 to 30 assets, first client relationships forming, first documentation happening, first recurring income appearing, small but visible progress. Month 4 through 6, redirect becoming automatic. No longer need to force the 10-second pause. The question appears naturally. Redirecting 40 to 70 urgencies per month. Assets accumulating rapidly. Leverage starting to appear. Documented methods saving time. Referrals beginning. Income doubling or tripling from month 1. Month 7 through 12. Leverage multiplying. Systems emerging from repeated redirections. Same problems getting solved faster with documented methods. Referrals creating exponential client growth. Income 5 to 10 times month 1. Identity shifting from poor to wealth builder. Behaviors becoming automatic. Month 13 through 18. Wealth building on autopilot. Redirected poverty habits now running automatically. Immediate problem solving, creating assets without conscious effort. Leverage extreme. Systems handling most repeated problems. You focusing on new problem types that build bigger assets. Income 10 to 20 times month 1. That's the timeline. 18 months from first redirect to wealth building on autopilot. Not because you became someone different, because you redirected someone who already existed. All the energy you were using to stay poor, now creating wealth automatically. That was my exact timeline. February 1926, first redirect. July 1926, identity shift. December 1926, income 10 times February. July 1927, wealth building automatic. The poverty habits that kept me broke became the wealth habits that made me rich. Same habits, same energy, redirected. Building wealth by redirecting poverty habits is faster than any other method. Faster than saving slowly. Faster than investing long term. Faster than climbing corporate ladders. Faster than waiting for raises. Here's why. You start with massive energy already deployed. You're not building energy from zero. You're redirecting energy that already exists. That's immediate. You use skills you already have. You're not learning new skills. You're redirecting existing skills. That's immediate. You act on urgency that already exists. You're not creating motivation. You're redirecting motivation that's already intense. That's immediate. Everything is already there, already active, already intense. You just redirect it. That redirection creates results immediately. First redirected urgency, first asset built, first day. Compare that to traditional wealth building. Start saving, wait years, maybe build something. Start investing, wait decades, maybe grow wealth. Start learning new skills, wait months, maybe apply them. Traditional methods start from zero and build slowly. Redirection method starts from maximum energy and builds immediately. That's why it's faster. That's why 18 months of redirection creates more wealth than 10 years of traditional methods. You're not starting from zero. You're starting from maximum energy aimed in the wrong direction and immediately pointing it the right direction. Immediate results, immediate assets, immediate compound, immediate wealth building. I tried traditional wealth building for 8 years before discovering redirection. Tried saving, barely accumulated anything. Tried investing, had nothing to invest. Tried learning new skills, too exhausted from survival work to learn effectively. 8 years of traditional methods, minimal results. Then 18 months of redirection, massive results. More wealth in 18 months than 8 years of traditional trying. Because I stopped starting from zero and started redirecting from maximum. People who try this method make 3 common mistakes that slow or stop their progress. Mistake 1, trying to redirect everything immediately. You can't flip all your poverty habits on day 1. You're still surviving. You still have urgent needs that require old solutions. Trying to redirect everything immediately creates failure and discouragement. Instead, redirect one urgency at a time. 10-second pause, 1 question. Redirect when possible. Old solution when necessary. Progress over perfection. Mistake 2, expecting immediate wealth instead of immediate assets. Redirection doesn't create wealth immediately. It creates assets immediately. Assets compound into wealth over months. If you expect to be rich after 1 week of redirection, you'll quit when you're not. Instead, expect 1 asset per redirected urgency. Expect assets to accumulate. Expect assets to compound into wealth over time. Patience with timeline. Intensity with execution. Mistake 3, stopping after the first month. First month is hardest. You're learning the redirect, fighting old automatic behaviors, building new habits. Results are small. Many people quit after first month because results don't seem worth the effort. But month 1 is foundation. Month 2 builds on it. Month 3 accelerates. Month 6 explodes. Month 12 is unrecognizable from month 1. Don't quit at month 1. Commit to 6 months minimum. First month builds the habit. Next 5 months build the wealth. I almost made all 3 mistakes. Week 1, tried to redirect everything. Failed, got discouraged, had to recalibrate. One redirect at a time. Week 2, expected to see wealth immediately. Didn't, got impatient, had to recalibrate. Assets first, wealth later. Week 4, wanted to quit. Results seemed too small. But I'd committed to 90 days minimum, so I continued. Month 3, results started accelerating. Month 6, results were undeniable. Good thing I didn't quit at week 4. Learn from my mistakes, avoid them, get results faster. You now know the method. Redirect poverty habits toward wealth building. Use immediate problem-solving energy to create assets instead of just survive. Start with the 10-second pause. Every urgent need, pause 10 seconds. Ask one question. Can I solve this urgency through value creation instead of time trading? Redirect when possible. Add the evening log. Every night, write 3 things. What urgency appeared? How I solved it? What asset I built if I redirected? Do both practices for 6 months minimum. First month, build the redirect habit. Learn to pause. Learn to ask. Learn to redirect. Expect 10 to 30 redirected urgencies. Expect 10 to 30 assets built. Small but real progress. Month 2 through 6, accelerate. Redirections become automatic. Assets accumulate rapidly. Leverage starts appearing. Income multiplying. Wealth building visibly. By month 6, you'll be unrecognizable from month 1. Same person, same energy, same habits. Different direction, different results, different future. This method works. I've done it. I've taught it to dozens of people. Everyone who actually does it for 6 months gets results. The only people who don't get results are people who quit before 6 months or people who never start. Don't be someone who hears this and does nothing. Don't be someone who tries for 2 weeks and quits. Be someone who commits to 6 months, who does the 10-second pause every day, who writes the evening log every night, who redirects consistently for 6 months. That person builds wealth. That person transforms their life. That person proves that poverty habits, when redirected, create wealth faster than any other method. Make that decision right now. Commit to 6 months. Start this week with the first urgent need that appears. Pause 10 seconds. Ask the question. Redirect if possible. Build the first asset. Then do it again tomorrow, and every day after for 6 months. By month 6, your life will be completely different. Not because you became someone different, because you redirected someone who already existed. Someone with massive energy, incredible discipline, intense problem-solving ability. Someone who was using all of that to stay poor, now using all of that to build wealth. Same someone, different direction, different life. Start this week.